What's going on, guys? I'm going to try my puncture cap that was messed up on my Salt Supply S2. It's been thread locked and thread locked right here. I repositioned there's a little rubber like silicone piece behind this, which makes contact with this pin on this edge. And I thread locked this, repositioned that rubber thing. I thread locked this. This has been chilling for like 3 days now. Seems to be, operating, like clicking fine. On this puncture pin, there's a small hole, another small hole, and then this part is hollow where this screws in. So there is areas that are not prone to leaking, but it's designed to be that way. Have like ways for air to escape, and I thought maybe that tiny hole would line up with this rubber stopper, but it's actually on the complete opposite side. So there's a small hole on the kind of like right there. Let me try to get something small to poke at it. There's a small hole on the top of the puncture pin on the right side, which lines up to about right here. And there's another hole about down here. And I think on the Salt Supply S2 cap, when you twist it to degas, it's releasing pressure from the second hole that's right here somewhere. And then this was either leaking on mine or something. But anyways, I haven't tried using it yet. This one worked completely fine until I started screwing around with it. And then I started having problems with leaking. This is one of the replacement caps Salt Supply sent me. It works perfectly fine. I'm not going to be screwing around with this thing because I don't want it to leak. So, yeah, this was the one I've been messing with, trying to get it to work. This is one of my sacrificial lamb 8-gram CO2s. This is a spacer so that I can use it in here because this only takes 12 grams. But with the spacer, you can use an 8-gram. So here goes nothing. I haven't tried this yet, so this might not work. It might work. I have no idea. And then this is empty. I'm just going to double check. But yeah, nothing in here and nothing anywhere. No ammo in this. So here goes nothing. No, it's still leaking. Still got leaks. So yeah, I'm still gonna try messing with this. I really don't know what else that I can do with this cap aside from just harvest parts from it or keep taking it apart and trying to figure out why does it leak. It sounds like the leak is coming from in here, which is kind of where the second hole is. So there's a really fine hole up here and then like a larger hole and then the bottom one. But when I take this apart again, I'll show you guys. So yeah, that didn't work. Maybe there's an O-ring or something I'm missing or something. The other option is to completely fill this in with some sort of sealant. And what I mean is this puncture pin, this silver piece can pop out of this cap, and I can completely fill that in, and then it won't leak. I'm gonna assume, but then I won't be able to do the degas thing where you twist this and it depressurizes. I won't be able to do that because this puncture pin will be completely filled, but that will let it not leak. So if your main goal is to not have it leak, you can fill this with some sort of sealant. I'm not sure, like an epoxy resin or something, but you do have to be able to thread this screw back into the bottom part of the puncture pin, and you will have to let it cure outside of this so that you don't just get the whole thing stuck. because yeah, like I said, there's a couple little holes on this puncture pin on the inside, and when I take this apart again, I'll show you guys. But it sounds like it's leaking from underneath this twisty thing, which is where one of the holes is on the puncture pin itself. But I don't know if I'm missing the O-ring or something. I don't think I am. But yeah, I'll just inspect that later. I'll see if maybe there is some sort of space for an O-ring, which I don't think there is, but yeah. Anyways, part 2 of this video is I'm going to put a magnet catch on this. And to do that, you need a glue gun, and you obviously need a glue stick, and you're going to need magnets. So I bought like 60 of these from Amazon. I think they were like $5 or something. It was really cheap. Here's like the item number. I think they were 10 millimeters by 3 millimeters, 3 millimeters thick and 10 millimeters across. But yeah, I got 60 of them for like $5 or something. It's super cheap, but it's just a magnet. So I'm gonna take one out because you just need one, and then I'm gonna open up this guy with using a punch, like a nail punch. It's for a watch kit that I have, like a time watch, you know, like a watch for your wrist. So it came with a pin punch and a little hammer. So I'm gonna pop these pins out, and if you have like a t-shirt or something, you can use a t-shirt to take these out. So what I mean by a t-shirt is, instead of having this mat, you could put a t-shirt underneath it, or a towel or something, and just wad it underneath this so that you're not hitting the pin into your table. Face the marker to the right so that you can put the pins out without stripping stuff. Because on one side of the pin there's a like a bird, like a bird end, or has like flutes on it, and that's what keeps pressure on the other side. So have the barrel facing to the right. Knock these out. There's 4 of them on the Gen 2, and there's 5 on the Gen 1. This should work on the Gen 1 or the Gen 2. I'm going to take my quick pierce out. So the pins will start coming out right here. And the 3rd one is right here, right by the trigger guard. This one usually comes out really easily. There's a 4th one on the Picatinny rail. It's pretty small. It's very passable if you don't like actually look there, but there's a small little pin hole right here. Everything's black, so I can't really, it's hard to show like detail, but it is there. I'm just going to move this off of the raised part of the mat. So that's out now. If you have a Gen 1 HDP50, there's another pin right here, and you just push it through, just how I did with these other ones. So you can use a pair of pliers, or if you have good enough hand strength, just pull the pins out. And they are different lengths, so I'd like to keep them in a pile oriented with how they were pulled out. The trigger pin is the shortest, fattest one, or the thickest one, and the Picatinny rail pin is the skinniest one. And the one for the slide and the one for the body on the bottom, the slide one is the longest. So just put the longest thick pin on the slide if you somehow get them jumbled up. So after you take the pins out, you push this slide back, push it back, and then lift it up. And once you get to about here, it won't want to lift up anymore. So what you're trying to do is not tear this valve indicator, this pressure indicator. You're trying not to pull, like rip that off. So once you get to here, it's not letting me like push up anymore. So then what I did is I pull up and then push the slide this way. So now with this finger, I'm pushing it down, and it just came loose. And all that's in here is a spring and the slide itself. You can dye this slide. I'm probably going to hold off for a little while on that. I might do it like blue or something, or just leave it orange. Maybe I'll do dark red. I don't know. not really in the plans for now. So anyways, you got this. You can take it out from the base, and you just have like the main body of the HDP50. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the hot glue gun warm and put a dab of glue on this, and then put the magnet on there. You just need one. So there's pretty much gonna be hot glue and a magnet right here. And yeah, it's pretty much all you have to do. So I'm gonna get my glue gun plugged in, give it a few minutes to warm up, and then I'll be right back. Alright, you guys, gave my hot glue gun a couple minutes to warm up. This is the magnet, this is the steel ball, and it's just it just pulls the ball up so that it doesn't get stuck in this little door that feeds the next ball. So where you're gonna put this magnet is I put it on the left side. So if the marker, if you're pointing it downrange, I put it right here, so you can see the feeding tube right here, the mold, and then I usually put the magnet catch like right there in that little crevice. So yeah, I'm gonna put glue on that, and then stick the magnet right there. This is a 40-watt glue gun, so it's pretty warm. If you have like a mini glue gun, it's probably only doing like 10 or 15 watts. And you can try this over and over again. But yeah, if you have a hot glue gun, like a 14-watter, this will stay goopy or like malleable for a little bit. So I'm just putting that on there, putting pressure, leaving it there. I'll probably leave this there for like a minute or so, and then once this seems like it's kind of stuck, I'm going to go around it with hot glue to get the edges. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so my first attempt, I didn't put enough glue and it just kind of fell off. If you find that your hot glue isn't sticking to the body of the marker, you can get some sandpaper and just kind of do a light little sand in that area to roughen up the metal on there, and then that glue should stick better. This has been sitting for about a minute, but you can see there's a little glob of hot glue on the edge and on that edge and right there. So I put a bigger piece of hot glue, like melted a bigger piece of hot glue on there, and it seems to be holding pretty good. I'm gonna let this like cure or harden for a few minutes, and then I'll put the slide back on and reassemble all the pins and all that stuff. I'll probably switch out the detent later whenever this stock one breaks. I'll be right back. Alright you guys, I feel like enough time has passed. So it's been like 4 or 5 minutes since I put the hot glue and pressed down on this, and it seems like it's good. I don't want to like pull it or anything. But yeah, it seems like it's fine. You might be able to put it on the right side, but I've been putting them on the left on my HDP50s, on the Gen 1s, and on this one, and I'm pretty sure this will be fine. So to put this back together, you're just going to do everything in the reverse order. So get your bottom part, your bottom handle thing, and push that through. Check that your trigger is coming through this good and not getting like stuck, or you're not like ripping it off or something. Your slide thing should line up with this, and then yeah, everything seems fine, nothing's out of sorts. And then get your slide and your spring, and put the spring, and you could put it in the front of the marker, it'd probably be easier that way. So put the spring in the follower tube so that you can, you know, be putting pressure on the rounds so it feeds it correctly. And then get your slide and line up that hole where my pinky is. Line that up with the spring, and then you know, place it on top of the marker, push it in, and then you should be able to push it down. And then once you push it down, slide it forward slightly, and now it's back in place. Since the magnet catch is in there, it may seem like your top frame is a little bit like bulging a little bit right there, and there's not really much you can do about that. But it should be fine as long as it's not like off to the side and it's actually like on top as close to the spine of the two halves. Like as long as it's like right there, that's pretty much as close as I can get it. I can't really get it any closer, and it shouldn't be like on top of this because then you can't put the slide back on correctly. So yeah, just put it in that the little like indented part, and you should be good. And that's why it's that size of magnet, 10 millimeters by 3 millimeters. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this back, push it forward, and we look good. So since we took the pins out and the barrel was facing the other way, we're gonna put the pins in with the barrel facing to the left. And the pins have this like bird edged where my thumbnail is. So that edge is gonna go top side up, and that's the long pin. So that's for the slide. This is the second longest pin, and that's for the body. And I'm just gonna lightly tap these in. And if it's not lined up, it won't go in. So I'm checking that hole, and it looks like it's good. So I'm just gonna, there you go. So it should be good now. Hold on real quick. All right, yeah, sometimes if yours doesn't want to go in, the slide is kind of pushing up. So if you get your hand and push down on this, it should line it up. So there it goes. So now we're good. So yeah, if your pin doesn't want to go through, don't like hit it all hard because you're gonna snap something. So just push the slide down and make sure that it's forward. You should be able to see a hole through this. Like you should be able to see through this. So mine lined up, and I'm just tapping these back in. And if it's not wanting to go through all the way, the slide one, just keep pushing down and making sure that you can see the pin coming through right here, because if that's misaligned, it won't line up correctly. So just don't force anything. If you force it, it'll probably snap. It's easy to take this apart, and once you do it a few times, it gets easier and easier. This is the trigger guard pin. It's really short and it's pretty thick, and it's going to go right there with the bird side, like that notched side facing up. So that's going to go there. And then this is the most narrow and the short. It's not that short, but it's really, really skinny. And this goes on the rail, the Picatinny rail right there. And if that's not in all the way, you won't be able to slide an accessory on and off easily because it's going to get hung up on the head. So if you use accessories on this, make sure that this is pushed in pretty good. And if it's not pushed in, you're going to get like a laser or a light or something hung up on that whenever you try to slide it in or slide it off. And I'm just going to push this last pin in. So yeah, this is pretty much done now. And the whole reason we did that is so that it can feed these steel balls in. If you're going to use steel balls, you don't need to do that. But if you want to use steel balls, I just made a video and with the restrictor in the handle and me using these, I think it was getting like 19 joules or 18 joules out the box if you're using these. But you can only do one at a time until you put this magnet catch in there. So now when I pull the trigger, there's basically a little door right here that moves, and that door is fighting with this ball because the ball is falling down and the door is trying to close on it, but with that magnet, it's going to keep the ball up, and then that door should be able to slide easier. And I've done this on my other, I have 2 other HDP Gen 1s, HDP50 Gen 1s, and it's worked flawlessly pretty much in those. Sometimes I have issues, but I think if I'm running these steel ball bearings, I'm probably just going to run 5 ammos in this, 5 balls, 5 rounds. And also to keep this from getting stuck, because this is kind of where it is when there's 6 balls in there, and when I pull the trigger, it pushes this forward sometimes, and sometimes it gets stuck in the follower tube, and then I have no pressure on the rounds, and then they fall out the bottom. So you don't want that to happen, especially if you need to use this like in an emergency or something. So I'm probably going to run 5 rounds on mine. But yeah, I'm still doing experiments with this, see how many shots it takes to break this detent, if it will break. I think so far I've put in close to 60 shots with various powers, various rounds. So I'm going to, keep firing this, put it through the ringer. Maybe this factory detent won't break. Maybe it will. I'm just going to keep using it until that happens. So until that detent breaks, I'm going to keep the factory one in there. And then I have suitable replacements for it. So yeah, thanks for checking out the video, and I will keep inspecting my Salt Supply S2 puncture cap to see if I can get some sort of easy fix before I just seal up the whole thing and call it a day. But yeah, I think it was leaking somewhere in here, which is where that second hole is. It didn't sound like it was leaking where the internal O-ring is, but I'll just have to like really look at this in more detail. But you can just contact Salt Supply and tell them that your cap is leaking, and they'll most likely send you one for free or 2 for free. Because it seems to be a sort of common problem with this puncture cap for whatever reason. They leak. But mine was working fine until I started screwing around with this thing. And now I have the replacement one, which has been perfectly fine. And I have never had any issues with my S2, like it leaking down the valve or not firing or misfiring or something weird happening. It's always been working for me pretty good. So yeah, these are probably going to be my everyday carries, either in vehicles or on me. This is a lot more concealable because it's a lot smaller. I'm not that big of a guy, so it's slightly shorter on the barrel than the S2, and it's just like more narrow. So yeah, I don't know how good that's coming up, but it's probably like an 1/8 of an inch narrower, 1/8 inch or something. It's just a little bit smaller. And yeah, pretty cool. $100, and this one is like $230. But this is obviously, 68 caliber versus 50 cal. So yeah, the ball size is different. And with the S2, you get about 10 shots, probably 8 or 9 full power. And then it starts to dwindle off, and it uses the 12 gram CO2. And with the HDP50, if you're running this little restrictor in here, you'll get 13 to 19 joules, depending what type of ammo you're using. But if you pull that restrictor out, you'll probably hit like 25 joules with the ball bearings, the steel ball bearings, but you only get like 5 or 6 shots. So if you want to reload and you want the option to reload, which it's not that practical because you have to pull this follower, load up more shots, and then push this and then start firing again. If you just want to train or whatever, then yeah, leave this in there. But if you want to have full power, if you have this with you, take the restrictor out. But you will only get 5 to 6 shots, and you probably won't have time to reload this. With the S2, you can pop the magazine, have another magazine, and it's ready to go again. So that's the only drawback I see with the HDP50 is you can't easily reload it. But it's questionable if you would even reload either of these if you have to use them in an emergency. Because, yeah, these are just meant for giving you a few extra seconds to escape from wherever you're at, or to, you know, slightly disable someone that's attacking or, you know, causing harm or is a threat. So they're not meant to like put people down. You can with a well-placed shot. You could probably really like hurt somebody. You saw these things going through soup cans and stuff. But yeah, they're good options to have that are not lethal, and they're good markers. Both of these. My Burna SD was good too, but it ended up breaking, and it was a like a $20 part that Burna doesn't sell. So yeah, I have to send it in to get it fixed. Anyways, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.